Well, Joey and I are here headed to our pre-testing for our black belt today. Earlier than we want to be up for Saturday. It's 9:15 and I've been up since 7:30. I've been practicing. I think I've got it. I'm gonna do it. Confidence. They like confidence up there. Ruby's all charged up and ready to go. Yeah. Oh, that's right. When we get home from Tae Kwon Do, we're going over to the power plant. I forgot about that. Hey, I'm liking this calendar feature. Look to the left, look to the middle, and look to the right. And stay between all the lines. So Joey and I are relieved. We passed our pre-black belt testing. We got through all 4 forms, some kicking and some board breaking. So yay! But no rest for the weary, because we'll be back in there Monday night at 5, starting to learn the next 4 forms and some other stuff. So. I like service.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right, you did great. I said I like service. All right, we're on our way over to the Shearon Harris Nuclear Power Plant Community Day. They open up the training room control center once a year for 4 hours. We've been before and it's pretty interesting. So we're gonna go again, and I thought our viewers would really enjoy this pretty, what's the word I'm looking for, Donnie? Unique opportunity.
Yeah. To
go inside there. So we live within the 10-mile zone.
Yep.
Yeah, so we're comfortable living within the 10-mile zone, but we are within 10 miles of the plant. So it never hurts to review what their emergency procedures are and, you know, all that good stuff too. But we should have some fun. Oh, and they usually have free ice cream.
First priorities first, ice cream.
That's right. Johnny and Donnie, they got Superman flavor.
Got my name thing.
So there is at least another Tesla Model S here. This one is a pre-facelift, sweet looking silver, 85D.
But God, the expense of regulation, I don't know. I think it would be better to spend, you know, that $20 billion on renewables or something other than.
Well, so one of the things you really got to think about is that you need a good mix. Just like with oil and gas, they're really great for being able to come up in power and down in power as we need to. So if more people turn on the air conditioning, you can add more power. But you also need someone that can maintain that steady, dependable load, and that's where we're really key.
Security zone, Johnny. It's just pretend, but you know, when you go to Italy in the spring, you're gonna have to go through the.
You play Modern Warfare and Call of Duty and all that too? No? You're not a gamer?
No.
Oh, okay. How bad are you?
I mean, a real person that goes out and do it.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
All right, Johnny, give it to us. You too could be part of security. Wow, that thing's pretty when it's all lit up. I like it. Okay, Donnie, come on. Come on, Johnny. The power's going out. Crank, crank. So explain.
Well, it's a magnet, and this is a coil wire. And whenever you move a conductor through a magnetic field or a magnetic field across the conductor, you generate a current. The faster you move it, the bigger the induced current.
Huh. Yeah, you people that understand all that deep electrical
I
stuff.
don't know. I understand a little bit of it.
That is way cool.
Are those my phones you're showing? Still there?
Huh? Air sample? It looks like they might also be checking the water. Did you do the pipette activity?
Put our sample in it. We're doing an experiment. So you got concentration. These are pipettes. You can pick one up and kind of hold it like this. Just grab the snap. What we're going to do is push it up. Like that, okay? It's the same one as this, and we put a little chemical in it, and then it turns pink. There's chlorine there, but when we put it in here, put that in there, and then we push the green down. There was all that's going to tell us how much is in there. See, when it's pink, it's like, oh yeah, it's there. But that green sense tells us how much is in there. And that's what
So how does it read it through the glass?
Oh, okay.
How does that work that
There's a little light in there. It's called a colorimeter, and it's a light spectrometer. And then when we push the button, it's a little light. Can you see?
Okay. Sure, I do see it, yes. So the light, light spectrum tells it the amount of chlorine in that case. What's in there? What is it, Johnny?
It's a bug.
Jackie used to be our neighbor over in Willow Spring. Her kids are grown now. Yeah. Huh? Tim got married too? I missed that.
It was a courthouse marriage. He got married last December. What's snake? This is a corn snake.
Corn snake. You're supposed to know that, Johnny.
It doesn't look funny because it's getting ready to shed. You see how dull he is? He's
This is what they call the glass top simulator. It's basically huge iPads that they've mounted where they can do some training. The real simulator is still knobs and switches and such. Maybe old school, maybe someday, but he said they can do a lot of training here before they move to the one with the real switches. And that's because the one with the real switches is in such high demand that they needed something like this so they could do more training than that one room could accommodate. And having been in the one with the switches, which we'll be going to in a little bit, it looks the same except that it's flat. Except that it's flat.
Physically the same.
Physically the same.
Wow.
All right, as you look, just come on around and hop up on this platform.
And they have real equipment here. I like it.
Yeah, 3270.
Yeah. Don and I are, you know, trip down memory lane. Green screen. The more, you know, the more like this, the better, right, Donnie?
That's right. Good old green screen.
That's right. Amen. And a real keyboard too.
Yeah.
It clicks and everything.
Clicks and everything.
Yeah.
Well, you know the clicky keyboards are back in. Oh wow.
What was that?
It's a real switch. I gotta have a click. That's right.
But you know the clicky keyboards are back in fashion now. They started making them again.
Oh, I hate the soft keyboards.
Yeah, we can't stand it. We have to hear the feedback or we don't want to type.
When it first boots up, it's like a Windows symphony. All the different Windows.
It makes music on there.
Funny.
Touch screens. The other plants the real plants all switches and stuff.
Yes.
Are they ever gonna, you know, you got like another 30 years on your license here or something like that. Are they ever gonna switch over to any of this other technology? Do they upgrade that, or is it just locked in place and it'll never change?
Here's an example right there. We will do that to a
This is
limited
digital.
degree.
This is digital.
Right.
It was analog.
Right, I remember seeing those in the switch room. I've been in on this tour on the other room before.
It is a digital process, and there's a digital platform we installed to accommodate this and other things. So yes, we are going digital. We won't go to an integrated control system on here, so it's not worth the money for us.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, a lot of things, as your plant gets to be 40, 50 years old, there's obsolescence.
That's right.
Switches just aren't made anymore. Nobody's buying
That's
them.
right.
They're not going to make them. So
Yeah, I'm an old
and ours
mainframe guy.
don't fail very often because they're high quality to start with. So when we do fail one, sometimes TrueCast will go figure out how to make one.
Right.
Or a simulator. And we have to find somebody who can make one. We share. There are other Westinghouse plants that have similar switches, and other plants in other industries that have similar components that we can qualify for nuclear. So there's a process for that. And it's not unusual to do that. So we won't go to necessarily a new component. Like, for example, a digital recorder. Some of these recorders used to be paper that you see up here. And now they're electronic or digital. They still show trends, but they're digital rather than paper.
The ones in the plant are actually digital now.
Yes, some of them,
Okay.
if you see it here as a digital here, then it's a digital over there. 'Cause
Okay.
This is identical.
This is what you would see at the plant right now. So these three recorders are paper with inking pens.
Right.
This one has a 3.5-inch floppy for its
Okay.
data inside. So this is a digital recorder.
Okay.
Curiously enough, just because it's digital doesn't make it better.
Better, that's right.
Oh yeah.
Or more durable.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
What are the typical
Well, again, what you're
flash
seeing
that-
right now is the normal 100% indications. So this is what we like the plant to look like for 18 months. When I start it up coming out of the refueling outage and when I go back into the refueling outage. Now when we trip the unit or take the unit offline, that's the 52 control rods that are at the top of the core, insert to the bottom of the core, and basically shut down and stop that nuclear reaction. That's what we call tripping. So that would be, how long do you think that takes?
I know the answer, but I've been seeing this tour before, so I'll be
Okay,
quiet.
so you don't count.
I don't count.
What do you think? Anybody?
An hour, 2 hours.
Okay, so we got an hour,
5 minutes.
hour and a half. Okay, you guys are a little long. So I need a volunteer.
30
So,
seconds.
all right, come on, come over. All right, so you just went through 18 months of training, and you're now a reactor operator. You're going to shut down the reactor for us. Some things you guys can pay attention to.
Look quick.
Is these 4 meters right here are power range instrumentation. So they're showing 100% power. You're looking for that to drop down to 0. In the back of the room, that black screen on the very back panel, Troop is pointing to it. Each one of those red dots at the top indicates one of the control rods.
Oh yeah, I
When you
see.
trip the reactor, you'll be able
Yeah.
to see those dots drop down to the bottom of the court. So what I'd like for you to do,
Johnny?
is take one finger, take that switch right there, put it on the bottom, and turn it that way.
The bottom, Donnie. Bottom.
There you go. Turn it that way. And 0. Right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
What did you do? Alright, so it's Donnie.
Johnny.
Johnny. So Johnny has basically shut down the reactor. So the nuclear reaction part of it is essentially turned off. So, but we still have the rest of the plant, the steam plant now we have to deal with.
Right.
So would the steam plant start doing more because he shut that off?
What the steam plant's going to do for me is, even though I've shut down the reactor, there's still what we call decay heat, and over time that goes down to 0. So that's still producing some heat, and that's kind of what you guys were referring to earlier when things heated up. I still got to deal with that decay heat until it goes away. And so the secondary, the steam generators, are going to continue to get rid of that heat for me. And then this is where the long-term aspects of it, this is where it would take several hours. Now we will shut down and cool down the plant and put it into a cold shutdown condition to be more stable.
How long did it take for Johnny to trip the reactor?
Blink of an eye.
Less than 2.7 seconds by design. That was a normal manual reactor trip. It's not normal about a trip, but that was a Johnny trip. So it's right up there. That first out is red. It says manual reactor trip. It was a different kind of trip, like an automatic trip or something else. It's a different kind of red. Similarly, this trips. When the reactor trips, it trips the turbine and the main generator. Everything shuts down together. The sound you heard, that represents steam flow out of power operated relief valves. And Frank was talking about the heat removal, and you were mentioning that you still got this heat in the secondary, etc. That's how we relieve that. We have steam coming out of the power operated relief valves and we pump water back in. So that's the heat removal system that's done there. For the next 24 hours, it's going to be a rough time in southwest Florida in particular. But you've probably heard they shut down a couple of nuclear plants. Did you hear that?
Yep.
They shut down the Turkey Point power plant, and they also shut down St. Lucie as they expected to get hurricane force winds on the site. We have the same rule here. If the hurricane decides to come to Raleigh, and we get a projection of hurricane force winds at the site boundary, which is 74 miles an hour or greater, we will take preemptive action and go ahead and shut down and cool down. So the Harris plant, as soon as we know it's coming this way, with some certainty or probability, we are already preparing to shut down the Harris plant. Now, your next question would be, all right, where do we get our power from then? Remember the grid.
Big bucket, you said.
It's a big bucket, everybody's putting it in, we get power from all over the country. So as we watch the hurricane come through, what kind of disaster would that give us? Well, one of the most likely things is something gets torn up in the switchyard or power lines coming into the switchyard. Because the wind will blow trees over and we've got a line on the ground. And so there's a large potential that something like that could hurt and could knock out all site power. So then what does Harris plant do? Well, Frank's got a demo set up for you so we can show you what happens here at the Harris plant.
Okay, so not only do we make the power, but we also use some of that power that we make. And if off-site power were to go away, that hurricane comes through and trashes the transmission lines and stuff, the plant will see that power loss, and it's actually going to shut itself down. But you just saw, I've got decay heat and stuff I've got to deal with, so I still need equipment to do that. So I've got a couple of backup diesel generators, okay, and here and here. And they're the exact same piece of equipment, just two different ones are independent of each other. I only need one, but I've got two, so 100% redundancy there. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to run that loss of off-site power, so the main lights are going to dim. I've got some battery-powered lights are going to basically give us our illumination until these diesels sync on. That takes about 10 seconds. Now, this diesel engine is about the size of a flatbed truck.
Right.
All right, so 10 seconds to start, come up, start giving me electricity, 10 seconds. So it's pretty good. And that's part of that testing we were talking about earlier. And then these two red windows here are my emergency sequencers, and their job is to basically sequentially load on all that equipment I need onto these diesels once they're up and running. That way I don't overload them all at once, puts it on what I need. And then once I have that, it's normal. These two screens here and here, I just put up a computer representation of those diesel parameters. So if you can't see the needles move, you may see those trends start to come up.
So the lights are going to go out, and it's not going to be completely dark in here because we have battery backup, just like in the main control room.
I'm going to leave the horns off this time since we already heard those.
Irma's out in the switch yard. Here we go.
All right, so that's the battery lights I was telling you about. So you can see the reactors trip. Those engines are coming up. Okay, they've just connected to the bus, so the main lights are back on. And you see the sequencers will start with the cycle across. And that's stuff like my charging pumps to maintain water in the reactor, the residual heat pumps to help remove that decay heat, all different kinds of pieces of equipment coming through. At this point, to the operating crew, it's just like that other trip we just saw. Whether the power's coming in from the switch yard, or the power's coming off of these diesels, everything has power now, and all my normal procedures and everything else apply, and I can start basically putting the reactor in a safe condition until we get the okay to start back up.
But one could run it if the other one failed to start.
That's right.
Heaven forbid. But
they are completely isolated from each other, so they're looking at different versions of the same indication to tell whether or not they need to start. Everything's working right. They both see that start command, so they will come up and then restore.
Okay.
But yes, I only need one.
So that's all the way down the line. This is just not just the diesels providing power, but there's separate pumps, separate buses. All the wiring is separate, two completely separate safety systems that do the same exact thing. Neither one of them will satisfy.
That's all automated, you said?
Pretty much all automated. We don't get involved till later. We watch all this happen, make sure it happens.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we'll go out and monitor the diesel and make sure it's running okay.
So I remember Hurricane Fran, so I assume that a determination was made that the plant was going to get hurricane force winds that night, and something along what we just saw happened then?
Yes, we would have shut down. Wouldn't have got. You don't always get a station blackout. That's just
right.
A bad scenario that could occur that we train on. Yes, John.
So if the nuclear power plant were to go and were to shut down, where would the power coming to us, the consumer, or I don't know how you refer to it, but to us, would we go into a blackout or would we get power?
Well, if the hurricane did enough damage, you could also see a blackout because it affects the grid. But if the grid's still intact, even if the plant shuts down, you still have other plants out there giving you power.
Okay.
Delivery processes.
Mm-hmm.
So a normal startup would take you a couple of shifts. A normal shutdown would take you all the way cold would take you several shifts.
Okay.
So you don't just trip the reactor because we don't really want to do that. We'll just take it down normally. We'll do our testing, stop equipment gradually, and under our control. So it's not a 2.7 second shutdown every time. And of course you can't start up that fast.
Right. Yeah, you have to go through a process before you can start back up. I mean,
Yes.
you have to get approval and
Yes.
notify and all this type of stuff.
We get everything in order, and then we go to our leadership team and say, okay, we're ready. We attest that we're ready. We've done all our testing. We're ready to go. Can we start up? And then our senior plant management will allow us to do that.
What's an example of one of the worst?
Johnny is getting a ride in a bucket truck. We've been here several times before, but none of us has ever gotten in the bucket truck, so we're feeling really fortunate here at the end of the day that Johnny's getting a chance to ride. You know, this kid loves everything, so
That's my little boy. And that's my daughter.
It's a little breezy. Have fun, Johnny. You're in good hands. Bye.
Don't say bye, so see you in a minute. Never say bye, sweetheart.
I think Johnny can handle it. And they even have a nice little canopy here for us moms so we don't burn in the sun. To give you some perspective on how high up they are. This lineman has been giving all the kids this nice little calm circular ride. They don't know how lucky they are not to be up there in the rain. Yeah, you have some fun with Johnny.
He said the bucket would go up to 65 feet.
65 feet at maximum deployment, huh? That is pretty high. Johnny's having a really good time. There he is.
See you cooling down a little bit?
Look, Mom, no hands.
Hey, watch my van.
Van. Wow, Johnny, look at you, buddy. Look at you, bud. You did good.
Good job, Johnny.
I mean, really, where else could you go for a ride in a bucket truck? I mean, come on, it's too cool. Too cool. That was one of those priceless mom moments, you know? Yeah, yeah. That's my polite child.
Nice child. You really did do a good job with him.
You know, he just came out like that. I'd like to take credit, but he just did.
He has a nice kid.
Demo.
He's gonna be smart like his dad. That's okay.
Gotta walk closer, Johnny. If you ain't seen the brake light come on, it probably doesn't spotted the key fob.
Okay, I'm videotaping that too, Johnny. Hold on a second, baby. I'm ready.
3 quick ones.
Huh?
3 quick ones, Johnny. Bang, 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 3 times.
Check that out. That's awesome.
All right, Johnny, shut it because you didn't do it right. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So,
check it out. That is awesome.
yeah, it's better. Well, it's fixing to do other stuff, though.
It should.
It better.
Maybe I messed it up. I pushed the wrong button. There you go.
Oh my gosh.
Speakers are in the door.
That is impressive.
I knew it did this, but you're the first. I had not done this yet with it.
Oh my gosh. Put the wings on that puppy.
Bunny ears almost.
Oh my
He's watching that more than fucking himself.
That is cool.
Wow, it's opening them really slow. That's interesting.
It's like dramatic effect.
Watch the mirrors, the folding mirrors. You guys better bring that back into the kids. We'll be at the EV car show next weekend up in Raleigh, the EV Week event. It's up at RTV.
We'll be up at the car show next weekend. Maybe we have to come by there. That is impressive, people. I'm loving it.
Yeah. What happens when you have programmers who have too much time on their hands?
Like on board, light show.
We need to show them the front now.
Oh, yeah, but it had nothing to do with that.
You can go pop this car had no engine.
The electric motor is actually between the front wheel and the back wheel.
That is
There's no
awesome.
transmission, it just strictly drives.
And it's so quiet.
Yes, it's very quiet.
And then it's
Yeah, as
not.
soon as they get the price down, I think electric cars, everybody's going to have electric
Everybody's
cars.
gonna have electric, yeah.
It's
So maybe
going
It's
that
gonna
way.
save on emissions
All
and
that,
everything. You're not gonna have all that crap in there.
Yeah, plus you're more reliable.
It's gonna be like
Hang on, Johnny. All right. Yep. So when I pull up in the carpool line, I open up the doors and then I just hit close all and everything shuts back up, baby. Yep.
girl.
Congrats. That's awesome.